Well, good evening. Hope yous are all doing well. Thank you very much for tuning in this evening. As always, it's much appreciated, but I can't do it on my own. I've always got that gruesome twosome alongside me. Good evening, Matthew. Good evening, Boona. How are yous both doing this evening?
Good evening. How is everybody?
Evening, everyone. How excited are we all, by the way, for this stream?
Oh, yeah. I've never seen it like this, to be honest, and I've never seen the amount of actual questions coming in for anyone that's coming in. So let's not hold back, people. We will get the man, the legend that you're all here to hear from. He will be diving into an absolute ton of questions that we've received over the past week since it was announced by Boona. So let's get him in, shall we? So
Go on.
Let's do it. So, this evening, it's a very special guest, and I honestly don't even know where to start. He's a weekly co-host on the FPL Wire, and he has a stellar FPL history, which includes 3 top 200s, 2 top 100s. He's only went and finished first place in India twice. When you look at India's population as something like 1.38 billion and equates to about 21 UKs, the guy is an absolute beast when it comes to FPL, hence why we are all here. He's a pro pundit for the Fantasy Football Scout, and he's also highly ranked in that Scout Hall of Fame. This season, however, he has taken a totally different approach to his FPL season, and he's given all of us a 2.5 million rank lead of a head start. Some prefer being an early riser. This guy, however, prefers the after hours. Please welcome into the studio this afternoon, the one and only Late Riser. How are you, young man? You alright?
Doing good, Lama. That's probably the best introduction I've ever received. So thank you for that.
Not a problem. I think first and foremost, we just have to say thank you very much because we appreciate the time difference and the fact that you are up very late. So I hope you've got a glass in hand and raring to go because we've got an absolute lot of questions to get through with you for the next hour or so.
So yeah, I've got my drink ready to chat with you guys.
Good stuff, good stuff. We'll start where we always start then, I think. So for those that, I don't know, if they live under a rock or something like that, who is Late Riser? What are you up to outside of Twitter and all things FPL? Let's get to know you as a person.
So generally, I've got a couple of businesses. I work, I have a retail store where I deal in sort of bathroom fittings and sanitary ware and tiles. Basically, you come to me when you're making a new house or you require renovation, anything of that sort. I also, about 4 years ago, started a company which developed mobile apps. That's actually one of the reasons I took a year off from FPL, because when it comes to FPL, I like to go all in because we're so obsessed with all of this. And then I was working like 16-hour days at that time, so it didn't make sense to do FPL. I can't do it as a casual, so took a year off. Best thing ever.
Okay, yeah, just to kind of get yourself away from all the mess that's there. How long? So with regards to Twitter and stuff like that, how long have you actually been involved in it? Again, just for those that may not know.
How long have I been involved in FPL?
In FPL, but Twitter as well, because I know that you're popular in the old Twitter sphere with the amount of followers you have.
Last season was my first season, full season with Twitter. Joined just a little bit before the start of last season, and yeah, that's what happened.
No problem.
I've been playing FPL for more than a decade. Been playing fantasy football for 15, 16 years. It's been a long time.
So you are a veteran.
Yeah, I'd say that. But I discovered how to do FPL seriously. I discovered the Scout around 2012, 2013, which was sort of a cheat code at the time. I mean, that taught you how to play the game. So yeah, that's when that happened, and that's when I really got into it.
Nice. And now you're here to teach all of us.
There's no teaching. I think. I think what I like about the community and what I like about FPL in general is this sort of. This is what we're doing, right? We're 4 guys chatting FPL, and you're sort of having a conversation, and then that conversation leads to theories and teaching each other. That's how I see FPL. I mean, all the theories that I have in my head about the game, etc., have been developed through spending a lot of time on the boards of FFS back in 2012, 2013, talking to like-minded people and trying to figure the game out. It's just become a lot bigger right now, but that's it. There's no cheat code. I mean, Mark, with his articles, laid the foundation of how you crack this game. But I think it's the community that helps us crack the game.
Definitely. Matt, Buna, do you want to dive into some questions?
Do you want me to go first, Bina? Because I know you've got a hatful yourself.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
The main one I really know is a bit like Lama said. If you live under a rock, obviously your play style is very maverick. So my main question really is: have you always been that way, or has it been like a last 6-7 years kind of thing? Because obviously you've been in the space 15.
Always been that way. That's why I feel like the way I play is very polarizing. My opinions are generally not very popular because I like betting against the grain, because I think that gives you the best chance of winning. That gives you the best chance of reaching those incredibly high heights that you really want to playing FPL. And it's also the rush that a differential coming through and scoring a brace or a hat trick gives you. That's the essence of FPL for me, and I don't want to change the way I play. I think I get the most rush, I get the most happiness playing the game that way.
And that's it, and that's what we've said to our viewers, and that's what Buna and I will tweet kind of on a regular basis, that as our good friend on the show G Wiz would say, it's hashtag play your own game. And for me, that's what it is. It is a game, and you want to enjoy it. So why be like sheep and follow all the kind of, in brackets, normal moves? Let's be a bit more maverick and kind of, that way if you do finish high and you're the best man to speak to, having won it twice over in India and highly ranked overall, if you follow the Twitter sphere, so to speak, then you're not going to climb any ranks. Whereas if you play it more maverick, as you clearly do, then you're in with a shout.
No, I don't think there is one right way to play this game. And right when I started writing for the Scout, the first article I wrote for them was about finding your identity as an FPL manager. Now, if let's say if I don't have a popular option as a captain, do you as a person have the temperament to just say, okay, fair enough, I didn't have player X who scored a hat-trick and he's captain and 40% of the world owns him, and I chase the upside. Now, as a person, if you can temperamentally handle that, fair enough, play that way. But if that isn't for you, you need to identify the kind of manager you are and just play the game. If you like playing the percentages, if you like, my co-host on the FPL VAR, Zofar, he's I call him a grafter, because the thing with him is he doesn't make many wrong moves. So he's always steadily climbing the table. So you need to find your identity in terms of how you like to play this game. And if you can, so being maverick, right? The thing that comes with it is the weeks that are good, you're going to have really good weeks. You're going to have weeks in which your game week rank is going to be in the top 5k, and that's going to be leading to a huge green arrow. But when it's going bad, when you're betting against the template, you're going to have 5 million game week ranks as well. Now, if you're able to handle that, do it. But just know that the flip side exists.
Yeah, exactly. No, well put. Buna?
Honestly, I don't really know where to start, with the questions that we've got. Firstly,
How about Shane Long, Buna?
Well, you read my mind. When are we doing it? When are we reuniting Shane Long into our teams? What's your thoughts?
I think we need to find a new Shane Long this season, because with Che Adams playing, I don't think he's going to be starting for the Saints anytime soon.
Danny Welbeck.
Yeah,
that's your new Shane Long.
Yeah, I'm actually considering him this week. Funny you mentioned that.
Oh, see.
Oh God. Oh
see,
God. Don't do this to me. But anyway, can I just say, Pranil, I think I've made it no secret that you're an inspiration to me and many other FPL managers. And what I really want to understand is the season you're having so far this year is your start to the season hasn't been as great as previous seasons. And with your team now being in the public eye as much as it is, how are you kind of dealing with that? How are you finding that? And let's answer that first, and then I'll go on to the next question.
It was in the public eye last season as well, and that's actually a question a lot of people have asked me in terms of has being in the public eye led to the start that you've had. And I honestly don't think so. Maybe a couple of moves are something that I might have made not normally, but it's just the way I play the game. The way I play the game is very, very, very polarizing. So the good is really good and the bad is really bad. I was riding for the Scout last season. The sort of popularity on Twitter was there before restart, and I had a great end to the season. So I don't really think that's affected me, because back then as well, I was making these risky moves and they worked in my favor. And no one was really asking me these questions back then. So it's just the way I play this game. I've actually looked back and wondered what has gone wrong this season and why the bad starters happen. I think the prime reason is City's form. I think that's very strongly correlated to the start that I've had, because I like betting on City a lot, and I was pretty confident that they'd have a good start, and that actually hasn't worked out. So I think that's the reason for the bad start.
Absolutely fine, and I completely agree with that. The second question was, what are you drinking?
I am drinking some nice scotch from Johnny Walker.
Oh, he's only into the finest stuff, as the young man. So I've got a couple of more questions here, and then we'll dive into the ones that we've had from our audience and viewers that interact with Buna and I over on Twitter. So the first thing would be, if you were head of FPL Towers, what would you change to FPL and why?
I'm actually one of the few people that is really happy with the way the game is working right now. I don't want this to become a game where you're looking and cheering a tackle that N'Golo Kante is making, and you're thinking, "Yay, one more bonus point." I'm watching the game for the goals and the assists, and I think it works because it's so simple. If you really want to play more complex games, there are a few games that exist which are slightly more complex, that are there for the slightly more engaged people. The reason this works is because it's so simple. Because you need to log on once a week, make a change, and that's it. I wouldn't change much about the game. Yeah, maybe the chips, but generally I'm happy with how it's going on.
No, that's smashing. And then just from us, or from myself I should say, I'll finish off with a question that we ask every single person that comes on our podcast. So what you have to do here is put yourself in this situation and then give me your honest answer. So it's the final seconds of a Champions League final. You're through one-on-one with the goalkeeper. You're just about to lace your boots through the ball when out the corner of your eye you see your teammate. Now you know that if you pass to him, he's surely not going to miss because he's got an open goal. However, Mr. Lateriser, it's you that's got the ball at your feet, so what are you doing with it? Are you smashing it or are you passing it?
I'm passing it, 100%.
Hey. Oh, I owe you a 10 alarm.
Absolutely 100% passing it.
I thought you'd smash it.
What?
No.
This is not aligned with your FPL playing style.
Buna had a £10 bet on with Matt and I last night that you were going to smash it all day long. So thank you very much for that. It was an easy win for us too.
Yeah. I generally play in midfield or as right back when I play the game as well. So used to playing the passing game.
Okay. No, that's smashing. So, just for those that are in the chat, again, thank you very much for tuning in this evening alongside the man, the myth, the legend that is Lateriser. You joining us in the chat is what keeps us going, so thank you very much for that. We're going to have Matthew here. He is, well, we say it's Matt's chat, so he'll be monitoring the chat that's through there and asking Lateriser the questions from the chat. Meanwhile, what Buna and I will do is try and work our way through the wealth that came in via Twitter. So go over to yourself, Buna, if you want to just start us off with some of the Twitter questions, please.
Yeah, so was this a question that I was asked? I'm pretty sure it was a question that I was asked. I'm just trying to see who had asked it. But as you can imagine, Pranil, a lot of people are now unsure if they don't own Salah, whether they should bring Salah in. Someone actually asked, I'm trying to find the name just so I can quote them, but let me just ask you the question. So they mentioned that you were considering doing Sterling to Salah this week. I presume you've not done it just yet. And I just wanted to see whether his minutes last night have changed your thinking and whether you're thinking to go elsewhere.
I was unsure for about 2 minutes, but he's coming in.
Hey.
100%.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he's coming in. He has to come in with Salah, right? And the thing with him is he's always just a naturally very fit player, and you're not getting him for just Fulham, right? You're getting him for Fulham, Spurs, Palace, West Brom, Newcastle, Saints, and he is probably in the top three, if not the best FPL asset in the game right now. And I made that mistake game week 1 betting against him. That cost me. That's one of the reasons why I haven't started too well. I'm not making that mistake again.
That one there, thank you very much for that. That one there, Buna, came from Rohit Vigas from your WhatsApp group. And he was basically just saying that on your podcast, which I heard as well, obviously, was that you were bringing him in for Sterling, and that did you still plan to do that despite Salah playing 90 minutes? But you've answered it, so thank you very much for that.
And just tying up with that question from Anderson FPL in the live chat, is it worth a captain risk still? I imagine if you're bringing him, you're slapping that armband straight on.
Yep, got to buy the ticket if you want to win the lottery. Salah's playing for them.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
So Lord Saladin, basically starts off his question with, how do you delete your FPL account? Essentially, I think basically what he's saying there is, what advice have you got to those that are struggling and feeling a bit rubbish about their start to the FPL season?
I was talking to FPL Razor on Twitter. He's a pretty decent contributor on Twitter. And what he's done is, just because that used to affect him so much, and he doesn't really want to get affected by that, he's not going to be checking his overall rank until game week 30. I found that quite fascinating because he doesn't want ownership and rank and all of that to dictate the way he plays. He just wants to, make good decisions week on week, and that's already really all that you can do. That's really all that's there in your control, and that's what I'd like to tell the people who are struggling. I mean, I'm struggling. I'm still doing a shitload of content on Twitter. I'm putting myself out there. Every time I have a bad week, I'm on there tweeting about it the first thing, because literally, this game, I mean, what happens on Saturday and Sunday isn't in your control. What happens between a Monday and Friday is in your control. And what really needs to happen is you making a decent decision week on week, and then don't worry about where you're going to land rank-wise game week 38. Just focus on making that good decision the next week, and then see what happens game week 38. Don't overthink this. Just play the game for what it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really, really, really strong and good way of looking at it, to try and just take that OR rank out the equation to begin with, because you're totally right with what you're saying, and you see it especially on Twitter, a lot of people deleting their accounts, or you don't hear from them for weeks on end, and it's a shame because we're all here to play a game that's to do with the game that we actually love, which is football. So let's just enjoy it and treat it as such, and it's just a shame to see so many people get disheartened by it.
Exactly. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I actually like what Puna does on Twitter as well, because he's playing for what it is. It's a game. Yes. So the entire inject banter and all that, people seem to get offended by it. I mean, he's just having some fun with the game. That's all. That's about it. And just take it for what it is. Don't take it too seriously.
Exactly. No. Just want to say thank you very much to another couple of subscribers. It's much appreciated. If you are enjoying it, please subscribe. It's much appreciated. Buna, Matt, what else is happening in the chat or questions over on the Twitter sphere?
Yeah, in the chat we got Sophie with a very good FPL related question. What is your favourite Indian food, Ella?
Oh, favourite Indian food. So I probably say Maharashtrian food, Sabudana Vada. I don't think you guys have heard of it, but out of the more popular things that you guys are viewers from UK might probably know about, Pav Bhaji is a favorite, and Dal Makhani is a favorite.
Was that Pav Bhaji?
Yeah, love Pav Bhaji, love Dal Makhani. Where I am in Bombay, it's the ultimate street food. You get great Pav Bhaji in Bombay.
I can absolutely relate.
We've also got a good one here for Sashin. With the whole Salah home versus Mane away form, would you consider bringing in Mane for this Fulham game and then switch to Salah the game week after? Mane's stats are still good.
Before you answer this, when I asked you about are you still going Salah, I'm not going to lie, I expected you to potentially be considering Mane. Has that come into your thoughts at all? Sorry.
No, not this season. The price difference is 0.3 and Salah's on penalties. So this season, and Mane hasn't really done much to tell us this season in terms of even underlyings that he's going to be able to come close to more as an asset. So once it changes, I'll look at it. Once the underlyings point towards that, I'll do it. But Salah is the better asset at the moment. I'm convinced about that.
Perfecto. Now, my pronunciations are all over the place, so I do apologise this, but one that's come in from the old Twitter sphere is from Karthik Ari Devil. Is Werner and Brewster to Ings and Bamford for a -4 a good move? He's just lost faith in Werner, and then he also doubles that up by asking, DCL over Danny Ings? What's your thoughts?
Werner and Brewster to Ings and Bamford. I like that if he's having Brewster as his 7th attacker and not his 8th attacker. So if Brewster is a perma play, maybe I like that because he's getting a massive upgrade in one position. But if Brewster is his 8th attacker, then I'm not so sure about that. And especially this week because I fancy Werner. Yeah, it's easy to go on tilt when you watch Werner and see that he's missing these chances. But it's actually a great thing for FPL that he's getting so many chances. That's the part that's sustainable. Him finishing 6 out of 6 big chances isn't the sustainable bit. Him getting good chances consistently is the sustainable bit. So what's happening right now is him getting 1 goal or 1 assist is a bad week for a Werner owner. The Hall's around the corner.
Yeah.
In keeping with this conversation about Chelsea, then we had a question from one of our fellow moderators, Davey P, and his question was: would you move on DCL for Giroud? And I'd like to hear not just the answer to that, but your thoughts on Giroud generally. Is it someone that you would advise people to consider, or is he not for you due to his rotation risk?
Yeah, not in the congested Christmas schedule. If Chelsea were playing once every week, maybe worth a shot because you'd assume that he's made his way above Tammy in the pecking order, but not when they're playing every alternate game. I expect Giroud to play every alternate game, so not in December.
Okay.
Nasu777 goes straight into the jugular, by the way, here, LR. He says, when are you planning on getting in Aguero?
We had a few of them.
I've always got my eye on Aguero, trust me. Whenever so there's a few journalists on Twitter, etc., who are closely associated to Aguero, I'm always looking for news and I'm always looking for hints in terms of whether he's fully fit anytime soon. I don't quite get the inkling that he's fully fit. Let's see what happens before the game against West Brom. I think a lot of people might be tempted to get him for that West Brom home game, but I'm quite not convinced he's fully fit yet, especially with Pep mentioning. So I'm hoping that Pep continues to give him 20, 30 odd minutes, and there will be a time for Aguero this season. There will 100% be a time for Aguero this season, but I'm not there just yet.
Yeah, just keep an eye on him for now.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
No, that's fine. Good. Thank you very much.
We got a question from Laz in the chat. On the FPL wire, you picked Pulisic as a differential. After Frank's comments, would you still recommend Pulisic this season?
Season? Yeah, I think season's a long time. So, yeah, you got to take him on some point. But, yeah, that does put me off a little bit. But when it comes to Pulisic, you're paying 8.2, right? I don't think it's a hefty price for somebody who I see, if fit, he's in the same conversation as a Son or a Bruno in terms of how good an asset is in terms of getting points per 90. And I like the fact that Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi are injured at the moment. So people are worrying about Pulisic being injured. Let him play. If he gets injured, you can sell him. Not like you're playing a draft and you're stuck with him for the season. You do have transfers. So I think the risk reward when it comes to Pulisic is slightly more towards the reward. I think the risk isn't that great compared to the reward which you'd expect when it comes to Pulisic.
Interesting. I've got a question actually, not from the list of questions that we've got that just come to mind. Given the season that you're having at the moment, what's your standpoint at the moment? Does it stay the same with regards to differential picks? Are you still looking to find those differentials that can help you get that edge, or are you still looking to play, your regular game?
Playing my regular game. I'm not somebody who's always going for differentials all the time. It's about finding the right time to go for a differential. Like if I was going for a differential all the time, right now Mane would be in my thinking above Salah. But you just try to find spots which the community or generally the fantasy world hasn't caught onto. I think Werner is a blind spot like that when it comes to FPL managers. I think a lot of people are thinking that Timo is a poor asset, missing a lot of big chances. But I think the smart managers are realizing that's actually a good thing that he's getting so many good chances. So things like that. I mean, I don't really look at ownership. I don't really look at differentials. The only time when a differential comes into my thinking or when ownership comes into my thinking is when it's a 60-40 call between two captains. I like going for the lower owned captain because I think the upside is more there in terms of the gains you can make, and you have insurance against the heavily owned captain.
There's a question in here that we got from FPL Tipster, which kind of links in, I suppose, to what you were just talking about now there. Have you figured out why the second half of your season is always better than the first half? If you just replicated that all year round, you'd win it, no problem.
I actually had a nice chat with FPL Salah Abdul, who came on over to our podcast last week.
Yes.
And I think I might follow a little bit of what he said next season, because I generally always tend to have poor starts when it comes to FPL, and that's because by nature I like to take gambles. By nature I like to take risks. By nature I like betting against the template. But it's not as predictable at the start of the season because you don't really know who's in form and all of that, right? So I feel like going for the safer picks at the start of the season, making sure in and around the top 400, 500k, in the top 1 million around game week 10 might be a better play than trying to go for the jugular right from game week 1. I'm saying that now, come game week 1 next season, I don't know if I'll be able to control the inner personality. You always want to go for it.
No, that's it, exactly. And then Pundit in Purgatory, I don't know, Boona, you'll be able to pronounce his actual name a lot better than myself. But he just wants to know straight up, what kind of whiskey tumbler glass were you drinking in on your podcast during the week? And be honest, I think you were a little bit more than tipsy. That's the first question.
It was my third drink for that podcast. I don't mind it. It's not the first time I've actually been having a few on the pod.
Quite.
I think the worst. I've not had a drink on the pod for only one episode, and that was the episode I pronounced Van Dijk as Van Dijk. So I think getting a couple of drinks. I think having a couple of drinks on the podcast works in my favor.
Don't worry about pronouncing things. I'm all over the shop with regards to that. And then Matt on last Sunday, a couple of Sundays ago, thought that the Liverpool manager was Julian Klopp, and that was without a drink. So
well,
that was a none.
Lateriser, you'll remember that that goal that Liverpool scored, that good goal. Can you remember that player's name? That midfielder who might be going to Barcelona. You know who I'm talking about. Don't say his name, right? Who Barcelona were in talks with, who scored a good goal this weekend, just gone. Lama, how do you pronounce his name?
I'm going to foot your arse after this podcast, Boona.
What's his name?
You're meaning Wonderweldum?
Have you ever heard the word pronunciation? Wonderweldum.
So the second,
yes, Lama has a knack for pronunciations. The ex-Chelsea right back and the goalkeeper were his favourites too.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting everyone know that, and I'm sure we'll have some fun with that at another time.
I see a few people in the chat right now.
Yeah, definitely. They all know. They know. The second part though to his question was, what do you think of? And here you go. Is it Rafinha for the next 3 to 4 game weeks?
Great player, good pick. I like him.
Good. No, nice. Well, there you go. Pundit in Purgatory. Rafinha is a good choice for the next 3 to 4 game weeks. But no,
5.4, not much to lose at that price.
Yeah, that's why I went Welbeck, thinking the same at 5.5. Not really much to lose with that.
I'll ask your guys' opinion in terms of, I got 2 routes to Mo Salah at the moment. We'll talk about that later in terms of what you guys fancy.
Okay,
sure.
Let's do that.
Awesome. So moving on to a question from Benji, another that FPL Lounge regular. He asked, is there a case that having 4 premium players, being Kane, Salah, Bruno, and KDB or Sterling, could that be a valid strategy going into the Christmas period with all having decent fixtures? Or he says being fixture proof. I don't think anyone necessarily is fixture proof, but what are your thoughts on that?
Sure, if you think that's the case, but I bet your thinking changes in 2 or 3 game weeks, because the fantasy landscape generally changes every 2 game weeks. So what's gold now is not going to be so attractive 2 weeks down the line. But yeah, it seems like a good plan as long as you're not compromising too much in the team. As long as you have the right value players, why not?
Brilliant, thank you.
We have a couple of questions in the chat, and they're pretty much, a load of them are to do with hits, really. So we'll try and sum it up. They're pretty much asking you, Ella, how many hits are you taking this season? And then Potato Man has asked, why are FPL managers so adverse about taking hits? So we're doing all in one.
I mean, generally, I do. I think about 8 to 12 hits every season. I think I've had 3 hits so far. I'm not against hits because it's one of my things in terms of chasing the ideal captaincy option week on week, and I like bringing the ideal captaincy option into my team for that week, because the upside I've always mentioned is 20, 30, 40 points if you hit it. That's also one of the reasons why I think I've not had a great start, because I don't think that strategy quite works this season, because there are a lot more players that are good in the game and who are pretty consistent. So while earlier you were betting against 2 to 5 points for somebody who you're betting against, this time the person you're selling is probably odds on to get 10 points anyway. So I don't know if the hokey upside chasing big hitter switching strategy is working so far. I mean, maybe if a few of the big hitters lose form, that's when I'll try making ground, because I don't know if it's going to sustain throughout the season. I feel like, especially in the second half of the season, the minutes that these teams are playing is going to come into play, and there are going to be a few tired players who've been overplayed.
Yeah, I'd like the fantasy plonker. I think it's Aaron that's in. Good evening to you, pal. Hope you're doing well. Says you're in the right place if you like a stream that takes hits, and it is true what he's saying. Boona and I are pretty much like the hit factory sitting over here.
Yeah, but Plonker in his own right has taken a minus 16 this week.
Minus 12, I think it is.
Minus 12, minus 16. What's the difference? He's lost his head more than Arsenal did against Spurs. Can I just say?
I was waiting for that one, especially as I just saw Baker in the chat as well.
We've got one.
Yeah, that I don't get. Like your minus 12s and minus 16s. That's just then that's the thing you're doing. You're just playing the game for fun. Like if you're in it for like. Just banter and having fun and having a good score week on week, but that's not going to get you very far in terms of the overall rank that you're chasing or in your mini league or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, I think the way, for example, one of the kind of things that I tried to do this season differently was, first of all, for the first 10 game, I broke it into 3 stages. First 10 game weeks, chase price rises to try and build up a bit of money in the bank. And that's a Scotsman thing, I suppose. And not, I know you mentioned it earlier on about not really looking at the overall rank. I've kind of set my own goal in my head of where I would like to finish, and if I get there, then I know that it's it's all down to me, taking risks here and there, etc. But that's, as I say, everyone just plays it different. Jack Wardle's got one for you, coming from Twitter sphere here. He is thinking Jota and Reece James in for Mitchell and Ziyech for a -4. What do you think of that one?
Good move. 2 players who are not playing at the moment going out. 2 players who are playing at the moment coming in. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, nice easy one, that one. No, Matt.
Just going back to your point there, Ella, about the -12 and -16, and that being just playing the game for fun. But what about if, like for example, myself? I promise you, I've not taken this to heart. I promise you, I haven't. But
yeah, I know that.
What if you literally are taking out 4 or 5 players, which they're in terrible form or their fixtures are terrible, and the players you're bringing up? Because we've seen people in the past, including myself, that have taken these sorts of hits, and these hits, bearing in mind, they don't need to pay off in the same game week, but there have been instances where they've paid off straight away. Do you think there is, it can work?
It can work if you look at it as sort of a mini wildcard, and then you're playing conservatively in the next 3, 4, 5 game weeks to make sure that you're taking advantage of those hits that you've taken 3, 4 weeks ago. But if a -12 or -16 is followed by a -4 is followed by a -4, then I see there's a problem with the way an FPL.
That's a fair point. Very fair point.
Mm-hmm. We got Plavak in the chat, which is quite an interesting question. Obviously, we're getting the January TV fixtures. Is it good to start getting them in now, or focus week by week?
I think wait for the full fixture list. I mean, let's say you're waiting. We know that West Ham have a double game week in 19, if I'm not mistaken, and let's say you want to target 19 for your team, and you want to use the free hit in game week 18, which is the planned game week. And you're removing a player to get a West Ham player. What if the player you're removing also has a really good double in 19? We don't have that information as yet at the moment. So I think at this point, focus on collecting points that are on offer in the next 3 or 4 game weeks, and then worry about the double game week later.
Yeah. No. Good.
Luna? What you got?
You're not there?
Lama? Yeah.
Right. No, I was going to just hit you with one that we've got from a good friend on the show called John Harris. He is having a tough season. Nothing seems to be working out for him. His overall rank is now 3 million, and I can already see the violins in the chat starting to play. I now know that I've got too many differentials in my team, and it's definitely backfired. So what advice have you got as an expert to someone like me who started poorly and just wants to start climbing the ranks again? He says thanks because he might have answered his own question in there, but it would be great to get your opinion on it. Thanks.
For context, he brought in Jesus this week, Ella, and he captained him. I didn't think it was a bad pick, but over to you.
Yeah, I got in Jesus as well this week. So we're pretty much sailing in the same boat. I'm sitting at 3 million as well. But like I mentioned earlier in this chat that we're having, you need to make a good decision or a couple of good decisions week on week. So focus on removing your bad guys and getting in good picks. That's as much as you can do, and everything else is overthinking. Everything else is not in your control. You're going to be making 2 or 3 decisions a week. One's a captaincy decision. Make sure that's a good decision. Make sure you're not gambling with it too much while you're trying to climb the table. If you see a gap, do it. If you're betting against a popular captain, make sure you have insurance in terms of at least owning the popular player so that you're covered in terms of risk there. And that's it. That's all that you can do at the moment. Look at the next 5-6 game weeks, get the good players, and don't always get a differential for the sake of differential if your eye test or your or the underlying numbers are not dictating that.
Yeah,
interesting.
So that's
I think there was one final question from the community, and that was from Notorious Nerd, he asked, how much time does Late Riser put into FPL planning, and is he more eye test or stat?
So in terms of FPL planning, in terms of doing my own team, generally I'm watching a couple of games on Saturday, maybe a game on Sunday, and then watching match of the day on Monday. And when you're watching match of the day, the move sort of, because when I'm watching match of the day, I always have the fixture ticker open in front of me, and the move that sort of comes to you while you're watching match of the day, and then I sit and pot with Zoff on Tuesdays and let the information frizzle in my head on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Earlier, last season, when that instinctive move came to me while watching match of the day or while watching the football on Monday, I'd make the move then. But this season, I've got a strict fuck team value policy, because
well, you should have been honest when Lama was talking about the policy that he had for the first 10 game weeks. His was love team value.
Yeah, and I'm all for it. I'm all for going for team value in the first half of the season. I understand why people want to do that, but it's just generally how I see the game. For me, if I'm gaining 1.5 million, 2 million in team value in the first half of the season, I'm backing myself to find a player who's going to give me the points for somebody who's costing 2 million more, and that's just one position out of 15. Right. So you need to find a value pick in one position, and you're fine. That's just the way I see the game, especially in this COVID season that we're seeing, because there's just been way too many U-turns midweek. In terms of not knowing. And I feel like if you're making a move, and if let's say that person gets injured or if that player gets ill, and it leads to a lot of backtracking and you're losing 10, 12, 13, 14 points, which you might not have necessarily made if you're gaining 1.5 million in team value and buying a player who's more expensive.
No, that's true, but you do realise what you've just started now. That'll be Boona straight away tweeting out "fuck team value" as a hashtag, and it'll be going everywhere.
Inject it everywhere.
You got the inject emojis. Come on.
So just all I was going to say, sorry, Boona, just quickly, was that thank you, obviously, first and foremost, to everyone across the Twitter sphere that got the rake of questions in to ask Lateriser this evening. It's greatly appreciated. We still know that there's an absolute ton of questions that are coming in the chat. We're aware of time, so we know we'll just go with yourself, Lateriser, to be honest with you, for at least, hopefully the next 15, 20 minutes or so is brilliant. Are we taking people on air tonight, Boona?
Yeah, we can do.
If anyone wants to come live on air, then please jump into the waiting room. I'm going to put the link to the Discord, if you're not already in there, into the Discord, and then just like me and Llama are speaking to Lateriser, you also, if you want to, would have the opportunity to come on and ask a question. So putting that into the YouTube live chat right now. In the meantime, Matt, if there's any questions, I think there's quite a few.
Yeah, but there's a nice little plug just in that section we can use that. What else can you do when you join the Discord if you're having a crap season in January? Llama?
Oh, yeah. You can join.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a second.
He's going to bring it up.
Yeah, I'll get it up.
Do you mean to ask a question while you're bringing it up?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. That's perfect.
We got Anderson, FPL, one of our mods, and a close friend of ours in the chat going, Lateriser, how do you stay positive when your moves don't pay off?
I'm not always positive. That's what you see on Twitter. There are things that are broken on Saturday. There are a few things that are broken on Sunday. But that tilt lasts for a day. If you saw the pod this week, I was ranting away. I was salty as fuck, talking about how Timo Werner gets like 3 big chances and misses them, and then Son with his single shot in the game, which had a 0.0 million XG, goes in. That's the beauty of this game. That's FPL. Of course, I'm not okay with that, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and that stays for a week, for a day, and then and the next day you got to focus on making the right decision next week and see what happens. It's the hope that takes you until game week 38.
Well, that's it, and you've got to keep yourself positive as well, because, like you say, you're effing and blinding and kicking things around the living room. And then that's when -12s and -16s and like rage quits come into play. So you've kind of got to try and it's hard though, like you say, you're effing and blinding. My wife comes up to me.
They have no right to get their calls correct.
Yeah,
it's just a shot that you're taking. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't,
exactly. Not exactly.
Ella, there's a request from Omgar in the chat. I'll just let you read that whilst I ask you a question. In the meantime, from Waz FPL. Don't know if you've seen that in the chat just yet, but I don't know what he's asking. He's asking something.
He's talking about his Masuaku injury, which I'm seeing in the stream chat at the moment. I don't know what his question is.
That one, but the question from Omgar earlier about 544. He says, Lateriser, we want to see you put in inject emojis in the chat.
All right. I was actually trying to find the inject emoji. Is it search for the inject?
No, you go for it. In the meantime, there's a question, if you can multitask, from Waz FPL, and he asks, should he start Rafinha home to West Ham or Watkins away to Wolves, bearing in mind he owns Bamford?
Tough question. Question.
That isn't easy, that.
I was going to say, don't give him an easy one.
I don't think Watkins is going to be on penalties anymore. I think Wolves might revert back to a 5 at the back, and I feel like West Ham going to a 4 at the back because now they have Masako injured, so they're not going to play that natural system. So they might be more open than usual. I fancy a bit of Rafinha this week.
Cool. While you're digging out some more questions from the chat, what Matthew was referring to was this. So what we've done is got an association alongside Fantasy Football Scout and FPL Merch to introduce to you the LIT tournament, the Lounge International Tournament. So when people have written into us Late Riser and they've said, you know, I've had a bad start to the season, what can I do, all the rest of it, what we decided to do here at that FPL Lounge was give everyone a second bite at that FPL cherry. So everyone will start from 0 prior to game week 18. Obviously, if you join prior to game week 18, we completely understand. Yes, some people will have all their chips, other people might have used them all, whatever the case may be. But we're just trying to keep it as fair as possible. But there will only be one winner, and what that one winner will get from us is a year's subscription to Fantasy Football Scout. You'll get an FPL merch mug made up for yourself. We'll also send you a trophy scribed with your accolade to boast with. And alongside that, we'll give you a £100 Amazon voucher or whatever currency it is where you stay. And that is just our way of saying, you know, here's to you, here's to our supporters. Enjoy yourself, enjoy it for the game that it is. Here's a wee tournament for you to just give you a second crack at the cherry. So yeah, that's what we were referring to. Basically.
A bit of a late plug, but yeah, it's a plug.
Yeah, exactly. No. So questions from the chat. I don't know if anyone has come into the lounge. I've not closed Discord down, obviously, but minimised it. But as Matthew and Boona were saying, if you do want to come on air, speak directly to Late Riser. We've probably got, what we saying, LR, about, 15, 20 minutes maybe?
I'm good. I'm pretty
perfect.
Yeah, we've got 2 in the waiting room.
Jeez. So we'll try and multitask ourselves here whilst taking questions from the chat, because we appreciate you might not all be in a position to come into Discord, or like what we're about to do, and try and get someone to come on and directly chat to Late Riser himself.
We got Ari Man. I'm going to drag you in now. Please unmute, but mute the stream so you can just talk to us on here. Coming in now. Ari Man, are you there?
I just put some respect on his name and correct.
Oh, no, you say it.
Because it's really going to bug me, but it's Ariman. I'm sure Late Riser can attest to that. But Ariman, are you there?
Hey guys. Hi.
How are you, bro?
Hey Ariman, how's it going?
Really good. Hi. Hi everybody.
Hi, how you doing, mate? You alright?
Yeah. Hi.
So you are here.
Yeah, it's really great.
Here live alongside Mr. Late Riser himself. We just want to give people like yourself that opportunity to chat to him, so here you go. Have a wee blether, we'll just sit in the background.
Yeah. Hey Late Riser.
Hey, how's it going, Ariman? Any questions?
Yeah, really great, but it's kind of hurtful to see you every time at number 1 in India.
I know that. That's why the field is open this season, right? And I'm sitting far away from that number 1 at the moment, so go for it.
No, but still at the end of game week 38, we'll see you with Ranveer Singh or someone.
Oh, that is, I like it.
Brilliant.
I can assure you, I'm just going to do it for you this season. That's not happening this season.
Can you just give some context behind the Ranveer Singh comment? Because I know what that's about. Late Riser, but I think the chat will.
No, basically, I joined this Ranveer Singh league, and he's basically the face of Fantasy Premier League and Premier League in India. And whoever finished number 1 in India last season, won that league, had a chance to watch a game with him, any game that I want in the Premier League this season. So I'm just waiting for I'm waiting for that fuck-all virus that we have to end, and so I can visit the UK and watch a game live. I've never seen a game live. I've been to Old Trafford, but never seen a game live. So yeah,
so
that's
which
what's
game are
happening.
you planning to go for?
The Tottenham Stadium's really nice. Honestly, I'm not going to lie.
I'd probably watch a game in London when United is traveling there, and then head over to Old Trafford for a home game.
Yeah,
that's the thinking.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Have you got any further questions to ask, Gary? Or
I actually wanted to ask about what formation do you reckon this season, because as we can see, there are too many great attackers. So
Yeah.
a 3-5-2 is better or a 3-4-3?
Both are good formations, I think, because there's enough value in your strikers and the likes of Bamford. Antonio is going to become an option pretty soon, DCL, etc. And you've got a lot of good midfielders as well. I think there are more options in midfield at the moment than the
Yeah.
strike force, but 3-4-3 versus 3-5-2 is your pick. But always 7 attackers, 3 defenders.
Great.
That's how I like it.
And what about the defenders in this? Like 2 premiums or 1 premium defender. So what do you think about that?
Whatever fits your structure. I feel like there's a lot of good mid-price defenders in the game at the moment. You know, the likes of Ruben Diaz. There's Chilwell, who's 6 million. There's Reece James, who's 5 million, who are offering a lot of value. I also think right now is a really good time to jump on a Liverpool defender. I think their fixtures look very clean sheet friendly to me. Fulham, Palace, West Brom, Newcastle. You don't expect these teams to score a lot. I do fancy a bit of Robbo as well at the moment. I'd say 2 premiums. Keep 2 premiums because I don't think the 4.5 are doing too many.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No,
Thank you. Thank
All
you
the
for joining
best,
us,
everyone.
Simon. Really appreciate it. How's your season going out of interest?
So actually, I am on 1.3 million right now.
Okay.
Great.
And
That number 1 is
I've
in
just
sight.
started. Sure. So actually, I've recently started my Twitter account. It is by the name of FPL Hits King.
Hits King
And
FPL.
yeah,
Perfect.
I
Very good.
even messaged you, Bhuna, if you
Yes.
remember.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We
Yeah.
will get you hooked up, and yeah, please don't be a stranger. And thank you very much for joining us this evening.
And you're free to
Yeah,
come on
thank you.
anytime, mate.
And you
Thank
know
you,
that-
guys.
and,
All the best.
and that's the thing with that FPL Lounge, the doors are always open, so thank you very much for that. Penguins just posted that we've now reached 400 subs, so well done, and thank you to all you people in
Amazing.
the chat. Brilliant. We've only been going, 6-7 weeks, so thank you very
I
much
just
for
want
that.
to say
Absolutely.
the most fun I've had behind the mic in a long time. So I'm really enjoying this.
Brilliant. Thank you
No,
very
no,
much
no,
for
no.
that.
Our next
I
guest.
mentioned in the chat that you guys are massively undersubscribed, and I couldn't agree more.
Oh, wow.
Cheers for that, mate.
Thanks very
No,
much.
thank you, bro.
Cat-
Right, Lateriser, we're gonna introduce the next person, but we've been trying to figure out for the last year what he's on, and you'll know when we bring him in.
Wait. I promised Manav earlier already that he's gonna come
Oh,
on tonight.
yes,
So
you
I'm
did
gonna
actually. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring him on first.
Go on then.
And then we'll bring on let's see if Late Riser can deal with what's about to come after that. So yes, I'm gonna bring you on now, Manav. If you can unmute his mic. Coming on in 3, 2, 1. Manav, you are live on air with us. If you can unmute your mic, we'll be able to have a conversation with Late Riser.
Hello.
Hi,
Hey,
hi,
how
hi.
are you doing?
You alright?
I'm doing. Yeah, I'm fine. How are you guys?
Yeah, doing well.
Good.
You were looking forward to this. I remember you saying this the other week there. Can I please come on
Yeah.
when Late Riser comes on? So here you go.
I was pretty excited for this one.
Well, you are sitting next to... Well, listen, let's just pretend here for a second, alright? So you are sitting next to the man himself. Don't be a stranger. He doesn't bite. Ask away whatever's on your mind.
United's gonna lose.
Oh, come on now.
Straight for the jugular.
You do realise I can eject people for the lounge just as much as get them in it.
Well, is that what you've been watching?
Is that you so far? Mate, United,
Who do you support?
United already lost. The pain was quite real
Oh
yesterday.
man!
Terrible,
You know, the only
terrible.
reason I was watching that match was to see Angelino score against you.
Yeah, you're a City fan, I'm guessing, from what I.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling confident about our chances at the weekend as well. So, you think you guys are in for a shot at the title?
I mean, right now it seems like we're only 3 points away because we still have a game in hand.
Yeah.
And,
I'm putting on the spot, man. Who are the top 4? Game week 38.
Oh, nice.
Oh. I mean, I had this plan from the start of the season. I think City might edge back with their signings. I just think they've added a bit more balance in defense with Ake coming in. And Ferran, I've with the things I've heard from him, he looked, obviously there's a bias there, but I'd say City first, Liverpool second, I'd go Chelsea third, and I think Tottenham coming fourth. Still Tottenham coming fourth.
Yeah, nice. Decent prediction there.
Alright, we need to eject him. Please, someone eject him from the building.
So I know, Manav, you were looking forward to obviously chatting away with Late Riser this evening. FPL-wise, is there anything on your mind that Late Riser can maybe massage for you and make you feel a bit better?
Yeah. Okay. So I've got this one dilemma. Like, I have had Sterling for like 6 weeks now,
Okay.
and it's like I was waiting for this big haul that he gave me last game week. And would you consider getting a -4 in and get in Mane for this game week and get him back the next game week and captain Mane?
So what's the transfer you're looking at? Selling Sterling for Mane?
Yeah, and then get him back immediately for the West Brom game.
If you don't have any other fires in your team, maybe, but you seem pretty confident about how your team's going to do this week. So why don't you just hold on to Sterling? But also, from a very genuine point of view, Sterling's, to me, a very streaky player. He's a confidence guy. I mean, you follow City, so you know how Sterling looks.
Yeah,
the moment he's scored a couple of goals, he's going to be on a hot streak. That's the instinct I have. Actually, when I'm also thinking about my move, I've got a free route in terms of selling Sterling straight for Salah, or I can sell Jesus and Jota and get in Webbs and Salah. So that's the dilemma I have as well. And I'm while the Sterling move makes more sense on paper, I've just got a feeling about Sterling where he's got a couple of goals in. He's a streaky guy. He's a confidence player, and I thought he looked really good. The kick that Pep gave him in his arse before the last game week, it's worked. I thought he looked electric.
Absolutely. I mean, I think he fucking needed it, to be honest.
Yeah, he needed it. He's been talking about playing in the sun, and he's been flirting with Madrid and all of that. And Pep said, it's not happening under my guard. You want to play, you play properly. I'm going to drop you. Otherwise, I've got enough options, and I think that's worked.
I mean, I think with watching him play against Marseille last game week, I think he wasn't the worst player. I think he played pretty decent. He looked sharp, which is the only thing I was looking for in that game week.
Correct.
So the only issue with selling him is I think he might actually score that game week as well against United. United defense is not looking good.
Our defense is not looking good. Van Bissaka generally has the better of Sterling, but he had his worst game that I've seen him play for us in a long time. And yesterday against in the Champions League as well against Leipzig. So I'm not really confident.
I mean, Angelino took him to the burners.
Yep. I had no idea what Van Bissaka was doing.
I'm just going to make a little note here, Manav. This guy really doesn't like Man United. Please mute the next time he comes into the Discord hangouts. Is that all right?
Manav, you can join us on the Sunday supplement, mate. I always talk about United. You can join us on the Sunday supplement live on air, mate.
He's got a beef about United. Manav, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us. I know you were looking forward to obviously having a good chat with Late Riser this evening. We'll probably take a couple of questions from the chat. Whilst I think, Buna, you were saying that someone else wanted to come in and say hello.
Yeah.
Right?
If you want to bring him in, Matt, I'm just migrating over to my car.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Late Riser, we say sorry in advance with this, but we've tried to, like I said, we've been trying to figure out for the last year what he's on, and you will know as soon as I bring him on what we're on about. Introducing Dre Zera. Hello, Dre.
Hello there. Good afternoon. Good evening. Hello. First and foremost, it's an honor for Late Riser to be here. I'm honored to be chatting with Late Riser. It's a big honor, and I have two quick questions. My first question is, Late Riser, and I'll answer one at a time. My first question is, what do you think of my philosophy that I've had all season, of which, now, we all know we have 3 assets that we can have max per team, but for me, I've been very, very sad and upset when I have 3 blanks in one team, and so my philosophy is that I've kept to 2 players max per team so that I can have more variety in my team. What do you think to that, Late Riser?
I think that probably makes sense only this season because of what we saw what just happened with Newcastle. But generally, the way I like to play the game, I like those double ups and triple ups. because teams are good, teams are scoring goals, players are good. It doesn't matter what team they're playing for as long as they're good FPL assets. So I don't mind a double up, triple up at all. It's like, let's say you were thinking about this and you had a Spurs defender only, and you wanted to get one of Son or Kane for the Saints game, and you were thinking, yeah, I've got this great policy where I'm only getting 2 players, and then that led to you not getting the other attacker. You got a lot more points if you got both Son and Kane, right? So if the teams are playing well, there's no harm in double ups or triple ups, in my opinion.
Absolutely. That's a very, very good answer there, Late Riser. Thank you for that. And my second question is... Sorry, Matt?
I'm waiting for it because you know it's going to happen. Who's going to rise?
My second question is, Late Riser, is that... So I'm heavily considering captaining the Sun for the rest of the season because I believe that the Sun has been such an exceptional player and the greatest player that the Premier League has ever seen from Asia. Now, what do you think to my philosophy? Because I've been captaining him for the 7th game week now. Some people think I'm a mad ting. Some people think I'm a genius, but not most. Even my mum don't think I'm a genius. So, what do you think to that, Late Rider?
I think you're a genius, and I think you should continue doing it all season.
Brilliant.
Wow, I now have validation in my life that Late Riser has called me a genius. Not even Boona would ever call me that. So thank you so much, Late Riser. You've sufficiently really made me so happy wappy. Thank you.
Oh, Jesus. Dre, as you know, Dre certainly won't need any Red Bull this evening. That is him high as a kite, and it's going to take something to actually pull him back down. But no, Dre, you're an absolute joy, honestly.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Dre. Oh, sorry.
Great guy, enjoyed that.
Yeah, no.
Thank you.
I don't know, Dre, if you're hanging about. You're welcome.
No, he's gone.
Oh, is he away? Oh, right, okay.
He's gone.
Dumbai, is it Dumbai? Late Riser.
Huh?
I'm a Mopai owner here. This is from the chat. But
Oh, brilliant. Hi, Mopai. How's the season going for you?
I always laugh when I see your weekly Mopai tweets. It's honestly he's just commenting. He's not asking you anything. He's just basically saying it's one of the funniest things on FPL Twitter.
Oh, can we not talk about Mopai, please?
Boona was going for him, and I remember telling him, Boona, this is not your guy. This is not your guy. When you
I thought he was my Shane Long, bro. Can you blame me? He wasn't my Shane Long. I can confirm.
It's all about Danny Wells, Boona. I think come tomorrow, if I'm doing it, I'm letting you know, and then you have to do it as well.
Okay.
Tushar, good evening, good afternoon to you in the chat. Late Riser, I've got 2 routes to get to Salah. Take De Bruyne out and then bring him back for West Brom, or take Bruno and DCL out for Salah and Watkins or Wilson.
Oh my god.
Is that for -4 there?
I'm not going to sit on the fence here. I think you should. I think Salah and De Bruyne are tier 1 when it comes to FPL assets, and I feel like Bruno is tier 2. Just because I don't trust United in terms of attack. So I say take Bruno out and DCL out.
Okay.
I'm not going to sit on the fence.
Wow.
Also, I think De Bruyne might be a better asset this season than he was last season as well. In terms of he's taking a lot more shots. I mean, you wouldn't expect De Bruyne to come out of a home game against Fulham with 6 shots in the box, and that's the most for any Man City attacker. With Gundogan and Rodri playing alongside him, he's playing as a more natural number 10. He's become a better asset than he was last season. He definitely has penalties as well. Unless Aguero shows up on the pitch, but yeah, I'm not going to sit on the fence here.
No,
I think De Bruyne or De Bruyne.
Yeah, no, that's the way to be. No fence sitting on this channel if we can avoid it, and it's a spiky fence at that. So I certainly wouldn't be sitting on it. Harshal in the chat. Good evening, good afternoon to you. Good morning. I'm not quite sure where you are. Who is the best James Rodriguez replacement, guys? I've already got Grealish, Salah, KDB, and Bruno.
Yeah, how much cash does he have?
Well, I think that's the thing. How many questions do you reckon you get a day?
I don't answer them. Oh,
Too many.
We get. I mean, I won't get anywhere near the amount of questions you get, but they kind of leave a lot of that vital information out. Who do I get? Well, how much money you got? I'm not telling
Yeah.
you. Well, eh?
Yeah, but for James, I don't know, mid price. I'd like to maybe spend a little more and go a little more premium with my pick. Otherwise, Jota is a pick. I don't like Jota. Maybe for the December period.
Okay.
I don't know how many games he's going to play.
Do you see earlier on, Late Riser? You were saying something about asking us something to do with your team, and you were saying,
Yeah.
"Well, I'll ask you later." Do you want me to bring your team up just now, and then you can let us and the chat know kind of your thoughts?
Yeah, let's get the chat thinking
Cool.
on
Right, chat.
my team.
You will never get this chance again to help Late Riser himself out with a decision that he's got. So let's have a look at your team. So for those that are listening back or on audio only, your team that went out last week started off with Martinez in goals, a 3-4-3 formation with Chilwell, Lamptey and Ayling in your back three, a midfield four of De Bruyne, Sterling, Burke and Jota, and then up front Bamford, Werner and Jesus. So
Yeah,
what's your
and
thoughts?
Just to make the listeners get an idea of what actually the team is looking like, I have Target in place of Lamptey at the moment, and I've got Grealish in place of Burke at the moment. So it's a pretty decent looking 3-4-3. My question is, I need to. I'm 100% set on getting Mo Salah as of now, and I've got a straight up direct route by selling Sterling for Mo,
Okay.
and I can do that, or I can sell Jesus and Jota and get in Welbeck and Mo Salah. That's my thinking. What should I do? The other alternate option in this situation is I lose Sterling for Mo this week, and then I can do Jesus and Jota to Sterling and Welbeck next week if I want to, because Jota at Fulham is a good fixture as well.
Is that for a -4, the 2 transfers, or for 3?
Yeah. It's for -4, but the thinking is I see it was frustrating to watch Jesus play the previous game. He was dropping in deep a lot, and I'm convinced that Sterling is the better option when it comes to Jesus. And I have got this feeling that Sterling is a confidence player. He's a streaky guy. That's one of the reasons why just selling Sterling straight up isn't sitting right with me, but it's the right thing to do on paper. That's why I'm sort of conflicted.
Do you have KDB as well? Did you say?
Yeah, I have KDB. I'm not.
Yeah.
So you would have KDB, Sterling, and Salah in that midfield. I personally, you know me, I much prefer that -4 route just because of the players you're taking out, especially now with Aguero back in the loop. I'm not saying he's going to return to the starting 11 straight away, but he's got a chance at some point, and Sterling got a nice rest midweek as well. I personally would go for that option.
Before you jump in, Matt, I would go the same road. One, because
God damn it.
one because as Potato Man in the chat says, Welbeck has got attacking returns 4 out of the last 6 matches, and for 5.5 million, are you really going to grumble at that? But that then gives you that midfield of De Bruyne, Sterling and Salah there, which I know even yourself earlier on in the pod was saying that having De Bruyne and Sterling, I think, is a differential in itself, because not a lot of people will have them both from a City perspective. Matt, what are you thinking?
Well, it's very rare that we all agree, but I actually agree, do the -4.
But do you guys think it might be a better option to do the -4 next week? Because I'm expecting Jota to play 90 against Fulham, and I'm expecting him to sit against Spurs. That's just pure guesstimation. So I could probably give Jota this Fulham game and then get Sterling in place of Jota for the next, doing the same move but just postponing
just doing it a week. I mean, that's the other thing, and like what we were talking about, I'm a United fan as well for my sins, and I don't. Well, listen, if I was City, I'd be attacking our defence the state it's in at the moment. So you make a valid point that having like the triple there in De Bruyne, Sterling, and Jesus probably makes actual sense this game week. You know, even though it is Man United. But it's just one of those things. United are a funny team this season. Some weeks they turn up and play fine, other weeks they just don't turn up at all.
They're Jekyll and Hyde.
The only thing I would say, LR, is you've said that you're 100%, set on getting Salah in this week, so that
Yeah.
wouldn't quite
So
fit.
the move that I postpone next week, I do Raz to Salah.
So you would do okay.
Right, yeah.
And would you bring Raz back in then for West Brom?
Yeah, that's the thinking.
I think that works as well, like a little hokey pokey with Sterling and Salah.
Yeah, exactly. And then if I get the feeling that Raz is in, let's say Mahrez is sitting the United game, I can, instead of Raz, get Mahrez next week. That's the thinking. But I know Raz is on the verge of a streak. That's the feeling that I have, and I don't like betting against him.
I want him back in for West Brom as well. Personally, I got rid of him this week for Salah, very early on in like on Sunday or something. It's a difficult one. However, how much do you look into history? How much? How much do you kind of rely on history and look into it and kind of use that as a, someone X has got good history against Y? Does that come into your decision making? Because I'm not sure how good Sterling's history is against United. I don't think it's too good.
Yeah, I don't think it's too good either, but I think the situation is slightly different in terms of the form Sterling is in and the form Van Bissaka is in playing for us. Normally, Van Bissaka has Sterling in the pocket, but I'm not feeling confident after his performance.
Yeah,
I think that has to affect his confidence.
I think it's also the centre of the Man United defence as well. I mean, let's be honest. If I was a midfielder in United's defence and somehow the ball ended up behind me, I'd be shitting myself. You know what I mean? Because if you're piling on pressure in that Man United's defence, you got to be loving life. No, really good decisions. I don't know if we've pickled your brain any or made life a bit easier for you there. I don't know.
I'll just see how I feel once I see Pep and Klopp's presser and see what I feel like doing after that.
We'll see what Julian says, Matt, shall we?
Yeah, Julian Klopp. We'll see what he says, gotta say. But I don't know if you want to wrap the stream up, because obviously it's very late.
Yeah, so I was just about to say that. I take it there's no one else in the studio waiting to come in or anything like that?
There were 2 people. In fact, there's now 3.
Right, so I don't know, Lateriser, is it okay if we take a couple, if there's 3 there and they're quick, then we can maybe get all 3 in, or possibly a couple
I think
of questions.
Runner was in there first, so I'll bring Runner in. Runner, if you're listening, I'm going to bring you live on air now. If you can hear us, Runner, are you there?
Stream anyway, man, it's like getting really late.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. 2 seconds, Runner. I'll see if I can turn you up a little bit as well, just for the benefit of the chat. But no, welcome, Runner, into the studio. You have the main man himself sat right next to you. What do you want to ask the man?
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. Hello Buna, Lama, and hello Lateriser. I'm actually from India myself, and I'm a huge fan. I've loved watching all your content, also your articles on Scout.
Nice, cheers.
Just a huge fan. I'm excited to be here. So I wanted to ask you a question, which is something a bit more unique to myself. So ever since I've started playing the game around 6 or 7 years ago, I've actually done pretty alright. I don't think I've finished outside the 100k in any of those seasons, but at the same time I've never finished inside the 10k either. So what I wanted to ask you today is, for somebody who finds themselves in that sort of a unique position where you always think you're above average but not quite up there, what kind of advice would you give somebody like that who's trying to break into the 10k consistently but just keeps falling short every time?
Brilliant question, Runner. Brilliant question.
First up, I'd say get a little lucky, genuinely, because the field is only getting tougher and tougher year on year with the way in which FPL is growing. And I sort of agree with somebody who I've been chatting FPL with from the FFS boss back in the day, Epic Fail. He always told me that he feels like getting into the top 50 odd K is skill determined, and then beyond that, how far you go depends on a lot of luck in terms of you hitting some big hauls and all of that. I'd say just play the way you're playing, and then you'll find your way into the top 10k pretty soon. I wouldn't change too much. The fact that you've not slipped out of the top 100k in the last 5 or 6 seasons shows that you're a good manager. I don't have any advice to give you. You're doing well.
Brilliant.
All right. What are you looking to do with him? Would you sell him if you have if you have 1 million tied up on him, what are your thoughts on that?
Don't hold on to him because you have value attached. Hold on to him if you think he's going to continue scoring points. Now that depends on whether you think he's going to continue scoring points. Like, if you don't have a Bamford, do you sell him for a Bamford, and do you think that 1.5 million odd allows you for a decent enough upgrade in midfield or defense? If you think that move is justified, do it. Don't do it because you have value attached with the person.
The problem I seem to be having this season is I always seem to have money left over in the bank, and I'm trying to sort of play it like how you were saying how Zofar plays. He doesn't make too many bad moves at any given time. So my strategy this season has sort of been more about not taking out the wrong players rather than just bringing in the right ones, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, like you were saying, like if you have somebody like Son or Jota in midfield, like you say, you might want to use the cash for a midfield upgrade. But what if you don't want to remove the players you already have? What would you then do?
Hold on to TCL. I mean, they weren't playing really well against Burnley, but DCL still got 2 big chances, and that's the way Everton are set up to play in terms of giving DCL 2 chances to poke the ball from his toe in the 5-6 yard box, and that's how that's going to continue. So unless and until you spot a player that's a better upgrade, or you find a way to use the cash, hold on to him.
Brilliant.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Hope you have a good season.
No, yeah,
Thank you.
And don't be a stranger runner. You know the doors are always open, so just get yourself in that waiting room, or obviously just join us in the hangouts on a daily basis. The hangouts is usually buzzing with people anyway, so you're always welcome. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Lama.
Perfect. No problem, pal. So
Take care, bro.
couple more, I
Take
think.
care, Buna.
Take care, pal. Buna, are you jumping in the next person? Sorry.
Who else have we got in? We've got someone called Fat Mac.
Yeah. Okay. I think he's the
Gonna bring them in.
the last one there. So we'll get him in, and then we'll wrap things up.
Fat Mac, how you doing?
I'm great. Great to be here. It's a pleasure among all the legends, obviously. And actually, it's a great pleasure. And I'm a big fan of Lateriser. So I'm very confused at the moment. But
Cheers, man. Just think like we're having a beer and we're having a chat. It's all good.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask. So many premium assets are performing so well this season. So, what is the main way to get the best premium asset at the best time, or maybe at a certain point of time? Is it just fixtures, or is anything else also which you have a look at? Or
I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know what the answer to that question is, because if I did know, I wouldn't be sitting at 3 million right now. I actually just wrote an article this week, and there's something I need to correct in terms of my thinking, because until last season, I've always focused on targeting the teams that are capable of scoring 4 or 5 goals. I'm not really sure that matters if the Spurs attackers are as talismanic as they are. So if they're scoring even 1 goal or 2 goals, you'd say that 90% chances are that Son and Kane are going to be involved. So even if City or Liverpool are scoring and more attackers are being involved in the goals and they're scoring more goals than Spurs, is it really going to matter? Because you're betting against a Spurs team and you're betting against Spurs to blank. Because if Spurs are going to score, these two are going to be involved. So I don't know at the moment. But I don't think this situation is going to persist for too long. At the moment, it's sort of a stalemate where no attacker is, no premium big hitter is seeming like a much better option compared to another premium big hitter. But I think that will change soon enough.
Also, one more question is, are Robertson and Trent still Robertson and Trent, or can Chilwell and Reece James give them a run for their money?
They can give them a run for their money because Robertson and Trent are playing without Van Dijk at the moment. That said, Chelsea fixtures don't look very as clean sheet friendly as Liverpool fixtures do. in the near future. So there's nothing wrong with these James and Chilwell or even Zuma at the moment, because they're going to offer bang for buck in terms of the value they're offering. But I feel like you can add a 7 million defender to that bracket, just because if your team structure can afford it, Liverpool fixtures look good for a defender.
Great. Thank you for the advice.
Cheers.
No problem, Fat Mac. And as I was saying, don't be a stranger, mate. You know the doors are always open, so feel free to come in at any point and have a blather with us, a chat with us. Really sorry to those in the chat if we didn't get round to your questions. First and foremost, obviously, we appreciate Lateriser joining us this evening, which is really late evening over the other side of the water, so to speak. And we appreciate the amount of questions that were coming in. So for those in the chat, I just want to apologise if we never got to your question, but obviously just to say thank you very much for joining this evening. Mr. Lateriser, yourself, as I said before, an absolute honour having you on the cast, and you as well. Please don't be a stranger either. You know that you're welcome here at any time. We'd be more than happy to have you. But for those that are in the chat that for some bizarre reason don't know where to find you, this is your opportunity. Go and plug yourself. Let people know where to find you or what you're getting up to and get them involved.
Just follow me on Twitter at Lateriser12. I post all my content on there, so you will be notified of everything else that I'm doing. And while you're at it, it'd be helpful if you guys could just go to YouTube, search for the FPL Wire, and subscribe to our podcast as well.
Exactly.
Nice.
No.
Also, I just want to say that this is genuinely the most fun that I've had behind the mic in a long time. So if you guys will have me, we're going to do this once again in the second half of the season.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm pretty sure the chat would back you up with that one as well. And it wouldn't be a problem, you know that, just to hook us up. And
I'm sure all your followers from India will be keen to see how close you get to that number one position again.
I genuinely don't think it's happening this season.
I never say never, eh?
Yeah.
Exactly. Buna, do you want... So obviously, how do you... the guests that we're having on these days are just blows my mind. But I don't know if you want to tell Lateriser and the rest of the chat who's popping in next week to see us, and there will actually probably be a slight change in time, which is a bit of a pity, but it is what it is. We can only do what we can do.
I think Lateriser can tell the chat who's going to be joining us next week and the pedigree of the person joining us next week. Hey, Lateriser.
So this guy that is joining the chat next week is somebody who we spoke to this week, and he was an absolute gentleman, great guy to talk to. He's one of the most helpful people in the Twitter community at the moment. He does goal scorer odds and clean sheets odds just for his followers week on week. It's not easy work. We've got FPL Salah, Abdul, also known as FPL Salah, coming in on the chat next season. He's also a pretty good FPL manager. He's finished in the top 1K 4 times. So yeah, great guy. I'll be tuning in.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. But yeah, as Lateriser just said, you heard it right. Just keep involved with Buna and I on Twitter, because as I say, there might be a slight difference in time. But if you're following Buna and I on Twitter, you'll know when it's going live. But yep, FPL Salah is joining us next week in the studio. So it'll be Thursday. The time, as I say, might be slightly different. So from myself, I just want to say thank you very much again for those in the chat, liking, subscribing, commenting, etc. like that. It's greatly appreciated. And if you've enjoyed it, this is the kind of stuff we get up to. It's we get creators on, we get people from Twitter on, just to kind of get to pick their FPL brains on what they get up to on a week-to-week basis, and just enjoy the game that we all love playing. So, like what we've just had in the chat there. Listen, the subscriptions are much appreciated. You're absolute gems. You are the VIPs of that FPL lounge. Matt, Buna, what you want to say?
What can we say? What can we say?
I don't really know what to say.
I don't really know what to say. I think that was one of my favourite streams we've done so far. No offence to anyone else that has joined us in the past. All of the streams have been brilliant, but just simply due to the fact that Lateriser is one of my inspirations and someone that I mould my own game around, it's been an honour. And like you said, we'd absolutely chomp at the bit to have you back on again in the second half of the season, Lateriser. So a massive thank you from all of us. And thank you to everyone else that has joined us in the live chat, everyone that has kind of given us questions for, discussion areas and discussion topics. And what more is there to say? Hit that like button and subscribe if you've not done so already. And I wish you all the best for game week 12. Do I? Heck, I hope you get red arrows, and we'll see you next week.
Matthew.
Yeah, hit the like, subscribe. Obviously, after this, you'll probably hear us in the Hangout chats. That's another thing of Discord, that if you're new to Discord, we all go out in the Hangout chats and we just blether and chat absolute shit, take the piss out of each other. So you'll see the mods and you'll see a lot of people in the chat there. You'll see myself, Llama and Boona there on a daily basis. And hopefully, Lateriser might be in there one day. Who knows? We don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm on the Discord. I'm on the Discord right now. I don't think I'll leave. It's all good.
Oh, superstar. Thank you very much for that. You heard it here first. Listen, at the end of the day, folks, take really good care of yourselves. Matt will be back with Matt's show and myself on Sunday as we go through the newspapers and see what headlines are getting made and does it affect us in FPL. Love to see you all again. Take good care of yourselves and thanks very much again. Thank you, Lateriser. Catch you all soon.
Bye-bye.
Better sounds no one ever heard. I wish I had a better voice to sing some better words. I wish I found some chords in an order that was new. I wish I didn't have to rhyme every time I sang. I was told when I get older all my fears would shrink, but now I'm insecure and I care what people think. Very recent.